Okay, let's move on to another subreddit. Let's say ENFP. Come on. After that video, we have to. Um, Making friends very easily, but struggling to get close to them. I'm really good at getting people to like me right away and making friends, but I feel like I have issues when it comes to becoming their best friend because I just don't know how to get close enough to them. I always feel like there's someone they're closer with and would pick over me. Is this an ENFP thing or more of a self-esteem issue? You gotta you gotta find an ENFJ, INFJ. Um, they always want to get closer to people. Sometimes I feel like I'm legit just a bridge for friend groups, like weaving new people into friend groups and then dipping out to meet new people on my own accord. And the cycle continues. But then it feels like, who is my true ride or die group? Maybe that's something we all struggle with deep down, regardless of MBTI type. But I think because we float, or whatever you want to call it, it's hard to find a soul fulfilling connection since we're generally so interested in all perspectives. But when those soulful connections, friendships do happen, it's so rare and beautiful you'll never forget it. Edit. Adding this, sometimes I have this existential dread that I'll never truly find a group of people that understand me. But honestly, that's just life. And I think our purpose is to help bridge those gaps, maybe, and bring the best out in people. Some people aren't a fan of that because we're not logic wizards over here. But there's so much malevolence in this world that it's like I have no problem being the light in this dark world from time to time. 29 FJ, this was very satisfying to read. Thank you. Very well written. Holy shit. Please write a book or something. You have talent. Um 29 FJ, this was very satisfying to read. Thank you. Rant. The thing about being a depressed ENFP. Oof. I'm so sorry that I'm sorry. I feel like I've lost all ENFP attributes of mine in the last few months. Boundless energy and enthusiasm, my extroverted ways, even my love for starting new projects. Everything feels like such an effort now. Yeah, I'm sorry. New to me, I get such anxiety in my stomach nowadays. I work in retail, and where once I was the epitome of excellent customer service, I now get customer anxiety. Somebody walks in, and my stomach does the flip. It's so damn hard to improve my state of mind. I'm really trying to be better and make myself happier, but I just feel lonelier and lonelier. Sorry for the rant, friends. I just really needed to get that and so much more off my chest. Depressed ENFP here. I struggle every day, but I need to be functional or my small business would go belly up in a month. A few steps you need to follow. Learn something new, something that genuinely interests you. Music, art. Try to understand what changed you. Is it a person? Is it the self doubt or an expectation? Disconnect yourself from anyone you need to. You'll get through it. Take care. You don't deserve this. ENFPs don't deserve to be depressed. You really don't deserve this. I fucking hate that you're going through this. As somebody who's been depressed in the past, I'm really upset that there are ENFPs who are depressed. They are the best kind of people. I hope you get through this. That's fucked up. Whoa. Wow. I'm sorry you're feeling the way you're feeling, love. It's tough feeling depressed when you know what pure joy is in your healthy state. But don't worry, you will get through this. I fall in this category from time to time as well, and I honestly still struggle getting myself out of this funk. However, I do notice that when I force myself to work out or do something active, it pulls me out of my funk. Or if I surround myself with just a few friends and or family that I know exude positivity, their positivity usually rubs off on me, and that can sometimes pull me out of my funk as well. Cuddling puppies is a random one, but that will for sure pull me out of my funk. Honestly, maybe you just need a full day to recharge. I'm sorry. Seasonal Auslander, please feel better. This is a direct message to you. Um, I hope you get through this. If this is mild depression, then maybe I don't know, but don't let it. Don't let yourself go into the the neurological spiral because it's very hard to go back. So if you get depressed, don't start thinking it's time to get into the shower. It's time to crouch down and sit down on the floor and start crying because it will neurologically um, grow the depression, for lack of a better analogy. And you don't want to roll the snowball past the point. Like you really just want to kill it while it's small, or something. I don't know. But depression is I don't want to say impossible, but extremely hard to deal with. I don't want to say impossible because I'm not an expert. When you I feel like this is more important to talk. I'm not gonna read the other posts. This is too important to talk about. Depression is an incredibly important topic, and I want to talk about it because this is pissing me off. This should not happen to ENFPs, and I'm gonna go into advice mode. If you get annoyed by it, okay, I'm sorry, but I have to say something here. As somebody who's been through severe depression for a long time, um, and sometimes I've almost been there because of COVID and because of being broke. A couple days ago, I almost broke down because I had no money. But I started to think, okay, what's my plan here? What am I doing here? And basically, if you can sort of think to yourself and give yourself a good, proper plan for your life to get better, usually you have to force yourself to believe in the things that you think will happen that are going to help improve your life. Because you're depressed, your depression may have a core stem, a problem in your life that you've sort of unconsciously started to believe is unfixable. And for a lot of people with depression, this is the thing that they deal with, whether that be trauma that you can't get over. Perhaps you feel a certain way about a trauma you've had, and I've had tons of trauma, and you can't get over it, and you're always sad about it, and you're always hurt by it, and you're always suffering because of it. Whether it's a love that didn't work out, whether it's a job that you didn't get, or a thing you didn't accomplish, or something is silly or seems silly, like perhaps you're an artist and your art just sucks, and you're like, I'll never be a good artist, I have no worth. These things can pile up because if you put hours and hours into something, your brain starts to think that that's your entire world. And what you need to do is step back, chill out, watch, you know, a couple seasons of a TV show you like. I recommend Emily in Paris. Very fun show, very relatable, very funny. Emily in Paris on Netflix. Um, I highly recommend it. It's very good. Um, or Better Call Saul, which is, in my opinion, superior to Breaking Bad. Yep, I said it. Just chill out a bit. Try to see your life more objectively as a human being rather than as this cog in the society machine where you're supposed to be so and so to be worth anything. It's this sort of grind and hustle mentality that sort of wears people down, breaks them down, makes them depressed. And even if you're an ENFP and you love adventures, it'll get you down too. Um, for example, I wanted to be a writer and I suck at it. Um, I and it really depressed me because this is not the cause of my depression later, but earlier in my life I got depressed because I wasn't a good writer, and I thought that was my whole dream and purpose. But sometimes your dream and purpose is not to do anything. Sometimes your dream and purpose is just to exist and be chill. And sometimes when you go on a holiday, you relax, you let yourself do nothing, you watch a TV show, let your mind relax a little bit, and get back to a zone where you start to humble yourself. You're like, I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be successful. I don't need these things. Not necessarily right now. I can hope for them, and I can aspire to be that, and I can work towards that. But I shouldn't put such an expectation to the point where I get depressed if I don't achieve those things. This is gonna be long, but I have to talk about it because you guys deserve this. You guys, I can't let this happen. I can't let this happen. You guys don't deserve to be depressed. But here's the thing: if it's mild depression, you gotta stop it in its tracks. You gotta. I don't want to say stupid things like, "Oh, depression is curable," because I don't know. I'm not an expert. But here's the thing. Like I said, you gotta relax. You gotta chill out and watch TV shows. But when you do, don't dwell on your misery. And this means, don't start to spiral into. What I mean by don't dwell on your, that's not exactly true. You gotta think through your misery for sometimes. You gotta think logically about it and start to give yourself step by step your plans for what you're gonna change so that you can fix whatever problem you think you have. And also make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to relax and think, to really think about how big your problems are and give them an objective overview. Then you fall asleep. And here's the most important part. You don't wake up as miserable as you did when you fell asleep. Because your brain resets a little bit. And this is your key. This is your key point. Don't let yourself, when you wake up, be as miserable as you did when you slept. Let your refreshed and more objective and more clear-headed, your more clear brain, allow it to see things in a lighter perspective, in a more positive, optimistic perspective of over all your problems, and try not to think about. Try not to think over and over the negative thoughts that are, oh, this is my life now. This sucks, or this is horrible, or this. Try to keep that fresh perspective, because sometimes Sometimes you'll try to go, your brain will revert back to what it was last night. But when you're fresh, when you wake up, you're like, oh wait, what problems did I have? Oh wait, what? And you're like, oh, yawn, and you're normal for a second, and then bam, the memories come back, and you're like, and then you're depressed, and you really need to catch yourself right then and there. Give yourself the opportunity to think about all the positive aspects. Don't just look at the negative. It's I'm not saying be delusional and just think about the positive. Keep a balance. Okay, this sucks, but hey, what about this thing? This thing was good. Try to force yourself to think about the positives as well as the negatives to try and balance them so that your brain is more willing to do it. Because if you just think, oh, just think positively, you'll feel like, wait, am I missing something? So try to think both negative and positive and try to weigh them against each other and to just entice your brain to be more optimistic, to be more positive, because you have that opportunity in the morning. And then try to carry that through the day. But here's the most important part. If you stress yourself in the day and you do hard things in the day and you go through through stressful situations in the day, then it could undo a lot of that positive thinking in the morning. And I'm not, okay, positive thinking is the wrong word. Objective, optimistic analysis of your situation, right? Realistic, not fantastical, delusional, realistic, optimistic analysis of your situation. Taking in the objectively positive things from your situation. Oh, yes, my life sucks in this way, but it's good in this other way. Oh, my life sucks in that situation, but here it's not too bad. It's sort of just giving yourself this more objective view of your life, giving yourself a plan to fix the things that are bothering you. And it's not about overnight being like, oh yes, I feel good now. It's about a snowball. It's about every day you just try to do that. Because I was almost depressed again. Because when I was broke, and I had to really do this exercise, and I really had to get myself more focused on the positives. And yeah, my YouTube channel not sucks. I believe it's good, but the views weren't that good, and it was getting me down. But I started to think objectively. Wait, this thing takes a long time. I'm gonna give it a year, and see what happens. I'm gonna keep building it. I'm gonna have these other strategies. I'm gonna try other things, and try other content, and try just try to be more optimistic, um, and set yourself realistic goals and learn about what is really realistic about it. If learn about the optimistic parts of things that are bothering you. So if you have something bothering you, try to maybe you could learn more about it. Because I'm trying to be more general, and maybe this helps you or not. But that's what I would recommend. If that doesn't make sense, then just go back to what I was just trying to say. Was just like catch yourself in the morning, because in the morning you're not as miserable as you were the previous day. In the morning, you wake up, your brain is actually refreshed if you slept well. And again, of course, sleep well, because lack of sleep can lead to low moods. Could disrupt. If you read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, you'll understand what I mean. He correlates lack of sleep with a lot of mental health issues. So take a good night's rest, and when you wake up, bam, you're not as miserable as you were before. Take that opportunity to reset yourself. Focus on the things that are objectively positive, okay? And try to weigh them up and collect the optimistic things. Take a whole view, chill out, have the day to chill out, and try to set that concretely in your concretely neurologically in your brain, okay? Reshape your brain structure to be more effective and conducive, because as depressed people, as a depressed person, you know that sometimes when you're depressed and you're feeling sad about things, there are times you can't explain why you're sad, and that's because your brain has physically transformed to be more wired to be more sad. And and it becomes you're stuck in a loop somehow. And that's what I mean by slowly thinking about more optimistic things. Optimism, believing in things that you don't know are true, but maybe more likely and probably are true, that are positive and help your situation. For example, perhaps, you know, I can't give examples because this is so broad in general. But yeah, this has been a really long talk, and I'm just gonna, yeah, this is I wanted to take that time for the ENFPs because I really just they don't deserve this. I mean, nobody does. But after the video we watched, this pisses me off that people are going through depression like this. ENFPs are going through depression. That's unacceptable. Uh, and I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm truly sorry if you're suffering like this. Um, there are plenty of people suffering, but I don't want to say that doesn't help. People say that to me like, "Oh, there's lots of people suffering. You're not alone. Go fuck yourself." I don't want to be suffering, whether or not I'm alone or not. Um, I understand that. I understand you're suffering, and I just want to say, I really hope you get through it. If you're listening to this, if you're not an ENFP as well, of course, if you're just going through depression and suffering, I really hope you find a way.